Life is the ultimate chess game. You start off as a lonely pawn, or in this case, a rabbit. You start really timid and really unsure of yourself, and you grow and grow from a child to a young adult to an adult, and you become more and more confident in your abilities, searching for your meaning in life. Whether you want to become an author, whether you want to become an astronaut, whether you want to become a professional wrestler, an actor, an entertainer, whatever it may be, you grow and grow, and then you suffer loss, and the loss can bring you way down, almost to the point in a pit of despair where you don't want to rise back up, but you do rise back up. You learn that love can come in many forms. It could be just around the corner, and love could conquer all. And when you are done being this lonely, lonely pawn, you become the ultimate king. And yes, I know that neither of these are actual chess pieces. I don't have the budget. I don't have a chess game in my house. Leave me alone. Convergence was written, directed, and also cinematography done by Steve Johnson, who did a movie called The Stalker. Check out his IMDb page for the full listing of his work. I don't really know what that intro was actually on about. I probably should have workshopped that, but nevertheless, this stars Jeremy Theobald as Martin, an author that really is going through a lot of shit because he lost his wife and son in an accident, and he's got his friend Robert who's helped him through a whole lot of stuff, and also there's his his wife Christina. Her sister Maggie is trying to help him navigate through this grief and everything. Everybody just wants Martin to get well and get better and just become who he, the true author, the true great man that he is. But unfortunately, grief can drag you down, really drag you down. And I will say that Jeremy conveys this very well, because when you have lost somebody that you dedicated most of your adult life to, and that you share a commonality of having a child with, losing that could just destroy anybody. And Martin is drinking, struggling to write, and all this stuff. And then meanwhile, we see Lily, played by Nicolette McCowan. If I have mispronounced Nicolette's last name, I do apologize. She was in Mercy Falls. And she actually contacted me, recommended this movie to me. This came out a few years ago and apparently was a big break for her as far as a feature role. And she is struggling with her own issues and her own loss and her own grief, because she has a very abusive boyfriend named Dominic. I'm not really spoiling much of anything here because this is just the baseline of it. And through a series of circumstances, these two end up meeting up, dealing with their grief, and Martin really tries to solve this mystery of his wife and son dying in an accident. Was it really just an accident? Was there something more dark and sinister about it? Were certain people behind it? What was actually going on? And from there, we have a mystery thriller that I will say right now has some really, really fine acting, particularly by Jeremy and Nicolette. I absolutely see why Nicolette got a role in Mercy Falls because of this, and I enjoyed her work in Mercy Falls. Mercy Falls is something you guys should check out. It is by no means going to set the world on fire as far as complete originality, but there's very, very good acting in it. Some good suspense and everything. She's good, and the rest of the cast is good. So I highly recommend checking out Mercy Falls. Nicolette showing off her acting chops here. Her and Jeremy carried this goddamn movie. Now, that's not to say the other actors weren't very good in this. It's a simple premise with some deep narrative to it. It is something that really, really, really did, make me think, like, how would I deal with grief? How would I deal with loss? Like, how would one get out of a particularly bad situation, out of a bad pit of despair, or out of a situation that they feel that they can't get out of, like a very dark situation? And it was very well done, very well acted. Dominic, played by Lee Fanning, he is a not very nice guy that feels that he deserves everything just for simply being a guy, and men are above women. I mean, that's what his character conveys. I'm not saying that's what the actor conveys. But Robert Alfie Wellcoat, I swear I've seen him in something before. And there's also a guy that is playing with chess pieces. The strategist is what he's listed as. Marcus McLeod. Not Chief McLeod. No, not that. No, they cut to him playing with some pieces and stuff like that. And that ties in later in the movie. So from there, a suspense thriller that has really good acting and obviously did have a small budget, and I'm not knocking. You can tell that there was a lot of ingenuity utilized by Steve Johnson and the cast, because when you have a small budget, you have to have smarts as how you're going to convey your story, and this was a well conveyed story. Completely original. I mean, there are some beats that this movie follows, but as far as the skills on display, anything that could be deemed cliche or can be seen coming, like, holy shit, it's like, holy shit, didn't see that coming, or, oh, I saw that coming from a mile away. Any faults are offset by the skilled acting and great direction and writing. So this definitely gets a recommendation. It's on Amazon. I ran it for $4 or so, I think 4 or 5. And it's worth checking out. It really is. Like, I mean, it shows what one can do when they have some smarts and ingenuity and have a story that they want to convey. And this felt like a personal project between, with Steve Johnson, maybe even some of the cast. I don't know. I don't know if any of the cast actually experienced any loss, but if so, there were some great scenes by Nicolette where she had to convey a lot of emotions, and Jeremy did a great job as Martin, somebody that tried to be stone-faced but obviously was really, really hurting. So from there, it ends up becoming a very absorbing movie that has a lot of really good stuff to it. You could argue that maybe in the third act it gets a little bit rushed just because of a couple things that they're trying to do and sandwich in, but through all the faults, well worked, well acted, well written, and absolutely recommend you guys check it out. So it's on Amazon if you want to check it out. I'm going to get into spoilers. 3, 2, 1, and spoilers. Okay, so, yeah, I will say right now the whole thing with, Lily and Dominic, like, you don't abuse your significant other. You don't do that. Psychologically, emotionally, physically, you don't do that. Especially somebody that you claim to love. You just don't do that. Nicolette looks great. I mean, just looks great. She's apparently got a new project coming out. It's got Samuel L. Jackson, I believe it's called Damaged, and I'm looking forward to that. So I'll absolutely check out more of her work. But good Lord. I mean, good Lord. You're captivated by watching her on screen, and she, loses a child because of being abused by Dominic, and she's got a picture of the kid, and she finally decides, that's it, I'm leaving. I can't do this anymore. Meanwhile, Martin is having flashbacks. He's talking to Robert. Robert's trying to get him to, overcome this loss to write another book, because he's a really famous writer. And then the strategist guy is playing with the chess pieces, and I'm just going to basically say, because I'm in the spoiler section, that you can tell right away that he's just God with the sky puzzle right here. Or at least I believe that's what they were trying to convey. Or he was one of God's disciples, somebody playing with this and trying to get people to, do his bidding or move out, in their spots in life. But sometimes people don't want to do that. Are your decisions really yours, or are they made by some malevolent force? Maybe not malevolent, but force above you. So there you go. Robert basically says, hey, maybe take a vacation, this kind of stuff. Maggie brings up pictures. There's a picture of, Christina, Martin's ex, talking to somebody. It turns out that this person is a lot closer to Martin than you would think. So Lily leaves. She is at a not halfway house. It's a shelter for abused women. And she goes to the same support group that Martin does. And suddenly, and I mean out of nowhere, while these chess pieces are being played with, like just really, really quickly, after being at the same meeting, suddenly her and Martin are on the run while Dominic's on his tail. Robert suddenly shows up saying, hey, buddy, let's have a drink and everything. He doesn't realize that Lily is there in the apartment. They share their grief. Some very good dialogue here. There were some very, very good, pieces. Good use of music, by the way. Very good atmosphere. And then the chess piece stuff, they keep coming back to the strategist, who I just say conveys everything through a lot of, just a lot of facial expressions. So he did a very good job. She decides to go back to the apartment because she realizes in her haste she left the picture of what would have been son, daughter, no idea. And she just goes off. This was a great scene, with her and Lee Fanning, because she just yells and just pours her goddamn heart out and every bit of emotion out, because it's like, how the fuck you took my kid, our kid, is what he tried to say, but my kid, I was carrying it. That was good. Very good stuff. That must have been really difficult to do that scene, but that was good. And then she stabs him. To be fair, Dominic was kind of a dick. I don't blame her there. And that is kind of just pushed to the side. Maggie then, meanwhile, shows up and talks to Martin, and she tries to kiss him because she misreads the signals. Or maybe there was a romance going on between them before. I don't actually know. Possibly, maybe. They don't really explore that. And then there's another one where Lily gets back to the apartment. Nicolette once again acting like, and I like mad, and I mean mad in a respectful manner, because she's like, he took care of me. He did all this. He was supposed to be the ultimate guy, to take care of me, and now I had to sleep with guys for money, to pay rent, all this and this, and he was supposed to take care of me. He didn't. I haven't had a job. I can't read, which I mean. Acting and everything, but that would be a struggle if you're an adult and you were catered to by somebody, but you weren't taken care of by others, and you weren't able to get an education. It would be a struggle to be able to trust people, because you wouldn't know what's real, what's not, and what is genuine, and what is manipulative, which I suppose is the same thing as what's real, what's not. But then we get more investigation. Martin's looking over these documents. Robert, meanwhile, is getting more and more sick. Almost like guilt is eating at him, too. And then Lily basically says, hey, wait a second. I've seen this picture. Or I've seen the person in this picture. And one of the people in the picture was her now ex. So Martin goes to show up at the apartment. And they, to talk to Dominic, because it turns out that he got a paternity test, Martin did, and the kid wasn't his. Gee, who else could the kid be? The kid's Robert's. It's Robert's, by the way, just in case you didn't figure that out. I'm not knocking, but that was easy to call right off the bat. That doesn't take away from the positives of the movie. And he's stepping on Dominic's wound because she stabbed him in the abdomen, stabbed him in, as it were, and is saying, you need to tell me who he is. His name's Caldwell. I don't ask anything except he pays me and I do the job. Do what job? Did, Dominic have something to do with causing the accident? Possibly. I don't know why I'm doing this. I don't have a beard. And Caldwell is the name of a character from one of Martin's books. So they go to this thing where there's the guy doing the sky puzzle chess piece thing. And everybody converges there. Ha, ha, I see what I did there. And Dominic's there. Robert's there. And he basically just tells, Robert, like, the kid was yours and everything, and we were supposed to be friends, and you took this stuff from me. And he had one of the chess pieces in his hand that says, my life, not yours, and he snaps it, and then kills Robert. I guess we're all chess pieces, so if I were to break this and I were to be tied to this like a voodoo doll, then there we go. Maybe let's not break chess pieces. We don't know if there's the hoodoo that you do so well. Also, Dominic shows up during this whole thing and gets shot. That's a way for Lily to deal with her grief. And they're together, and they're going to have a kid, possibly, maybe. Yeah. Kind of rushed the third act there. They kind of rushed the third act. I'm not knocking. It was well told. Maybe there were certain things that had to be added to get it down to a proper runtime. Good stuff. A-. Check it out. Well told story. Very good acting. Look forward to seeing what else Nicolette can do. And if I mispronounced her name, I really do apologize. I really do. Yeah, A-. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Like, share, subscribe, Twitter handle in the description. I'm John Rickland. I'll see you soon.